I don't think we're going too far by saying it's a Hunger Games style show. Every media outlet that I've seen reporting about it has called it a Hunger Games style reality show. And let me grab this. Okay, so this is Entertainment Weekly's summary. In the hunt, 12 teams of 2, okay, that already sounds way too familiar. 12 teams of 2 are dropped into the wilderness without food, without water, and without shelter. They must compete in a game where they'll rely on their physicality, survival skills, and hunting skills to endure the harsh conditions and capture one another. So my immediate reaction was one of, I guess, horror. I couldn't believe that this would even happen. So before I really talk about my opinion, let's go ahead and get some reactions from our panelists, and then we can kind of just discuss it. Tiffany, why don't we start with you, since I know Victor's Village published an article about this. I think Rebecca wrote it, not you, but I saw you tweeting about it, so I know that you have some strong opinions on it. What do you think about this?
Okay. It's really terrible because I've never wanted a show to be canceled before having seen it ever in my life until now. I was just very insulted as a Hunger Games fan. I mean, I think it's safe to say that they're trying to rein in the Hunger Games fans with this show. I mean, there's no other way to put it. But by trying to do that, they've completely missed the point. And if you are a Hunger Games fan, you should have been able to glean from the text of the books that this is not what the books are about and what Suzanne Collins is trying to say. So yeah, I have a cause now with this. I don't want anyone to watch this show, pretty much.
And I think you're very, very, very correct when you say that they're targeting Hunger Games fans. I mean, it's obvious. And the bad thing is I think a lot of Hunger Games fans would really, get into this show. So that's a little bit worrisome. Ariel, what are your views about this show, The Hunt?
Well, my problem is more with the way that they're describing it and marketing it. If they had described it as, outdoor adventure, camping, capture the flag, and capture the flag, you totally had, captured prisoners and stuff like that. And, we played that as, in elementary school. And if they had marketed it as something like that, Project Adventure, Survival in the Woods, something like that, then I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Probably wouldn't have watched it since I'm not a big reality television fan. But now that they're marketing it towards Hunger Games fans, that just sits wrong with me. Because as Hunger Games fans, we're a fan of the books, but we're not a fan of the games. And making it seem like they're one and the same is very weird and kind of rubs me the wrong way. So as a show, not so much a problem, but the way they're going forward with it just, I don't know, makes me a little sick.
It is really, really weird. I mean, they're completely twisting, everything that Suzanne Collins was trying to say when she wrote these books. And I think I really agree with you because I like the idea of a reality show that involves putting people out in the wilderness, to use survivalist type skills. I think that sounds really interesting. It could almost be an Amazing Race kind of thing, but in the wilderness. But the fact that they have this capture each other component. I mean, and the fact that it's called The Hunt. I mean, come on. I just am more than slightly appalled. Ellie, what about you?
I'm kind of with everybody else. It's more. What annoys me is really the fact that they do seem to be trying to market it towards Hunger Games fans, and the fact that the whole point of the book is that these games are absolutely terrible, and they destroy everybody, and it should never exist. So it's completely missing the point, and it does scare me that some Hunger Games fans are buying into it. because it goes against everything that Suzanne Collins was trying to say in writing the series.
It makes me recall, I don't remember, it was sometime last year, I was on Tumblr, and I found all of these people talking about how they wished that the Hunger Games were real, and it just kind of got me thinking about that, and how that's just so disturbing. I mean, who in their right mind would want these games to be real? I mean, that really scares me, and I think it's, just exemplifies how desensitized many in this culture are to violence. There are kids saying that they wish the Hunger Games were real, but it's like, are they really fully grasping what they're saying? I don't think so.
I'm going to play slightly devil's advocate on this, and I mentioned this to you when we were talking. It's not that I love the idea of this show, because I don't, but I'm not as upset about it, I guess, as the rest of you. And I'm not saying that in a way, please don't judge me for having a slightly different opinion. I definitely see where you're coming from. I totally realize how this could really result in something that's being looked upon, taking the Hunger Games and kind of sifting out the worst aspects of it and turning it into a TV show promotion. But at the same time, I mean, I think maybe we're being a little bit too serious and putting too much gravity on this. It's probably going to be an interesting show in the sense that I'm kind of curious in a way. I'm not saying I'm going to watch it, but I think people would be curious to see how do you handle the situation, and there's no actual violence that's going to be taking place here. I mean, it'd be one thing if you had people really shooting people and really killing them. They're not doing that. This is just basically like a glorified version of Capture the Flag with 24 people with a Hunger Games-ish feel to it. So from my aspect, is it in great taste? Probably not. But at the same time, I think we need to be a little bit more, how should I say this, a little more selective in picking our battles as the moral police, because I just think that there are so many things that are much more worth getting upset about, and this is just entertainment to me, with no real harm that's going to be caused other than some, perhaps slightly not in great taste intentions. Anyway, well, sorry, I'm not trying to open the floodgates against me. I know I'm going to get it now.
Well, I think we have to ask ourselves, like, what comes after this? It's like we're seeing a trend of reality shows like that keep kind of pushing the limit. It's like, there's no violence in this incarnation of the show, but maybe 20 years from now, this won't be enough, and people will actually want fighting to happen. And then soon the fighting won't be enough, and then people will want to actually see, people killed. I mean, who's to say this isn't leading us down a path towards Panem, I guess.
Right. Well, maybe it is a gateway to what's worse. I mean, I totally understand that argument. I just think maybe we should withhold our judgment, or our condemnation until that actually happens, is what I would say. And
right. Treat
this as it is. If anything, maybe people will be turned off by this, and it could be a good thing in terms of if the let's put it this way, maybe, Tiffany, you'll get your wish. If the ratings are really bad, people might say people aren't even interested in this crap. So let's not even put this on here.
Don't watch it. No one watch it.
I'm not saying, Tiffany, that I love the idea.
No one watch it. I just want this canceled, like, faster than, I don't know, the Cape. Like, really fast. Like, it doesn't even last, like, 2 episodes.
Do you see, Tiffany, though, that I'm not saying that I like the idea of the show. I'm just not going crazy putting it down because I don't think it's as big a deal as it is to you, but I also respect your opinion on that. So.
Well, one of my biggest problems is the fact that they are trying to rein in Hunger Games fans with this. That is like, if it wasn't so obvious, I would be less angry about it.
Right.
That's true. It is pretty obvious what they're doing here.
Yeah, my problem is it's glorifying the terrible part of the Hunger Games.
I just think the title, like, they should just rethink the title for starters. Like, the hunt, I mean, what are they hunting? Each other, obviously. Like, anyway, Crystal, we haven't heard from you yet. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I pretty much agree with what everybody said, except for maybe Adam, I guess. I mean, I talked with you a little bit about this, and I mean, just when I heard about it, I was like, this is just how I see how the Hunger Games first came to pass. Because when you think about it in the context of the Hunger Games, the first book, you're like, how did this happen to this society? Who thought of this sick idea? And I can see it coming from some reality show that somebody saw before the world ended, and they just thought, let's do this, and I don't know. It just kind of irritated me that this is how things like what we are always talking about start, I'm
going to read this comment. This is from Mrs. Orman on Twitter. She says, I worry more kids will glorify the idea of the games by watching a show based on them, like kids who cheered during the movie. And I think that's a good point, too. Like, seeing this actually play out, I think, it will, cause some kids to sort of glorify the games more. I don't know. I don't even want to get into that because I'm still angry about the people who cheered in my theater, and I don't even want to remember that. Natalie, last but not least, Natalie, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I definitely agree with, I don't remember who it was who said earlier, it's so pathetic that this is what if they're choosing anything to model after Hunger Games, they're using Hunger Games so much to promote it and to push it towards fans. It's just like I read the plot, and if I hadn't been reading it thinking in the context of the show, I was like, oh, it sounds like Survivor with like a little more tension, I guess. I don't know, it's not a unique idea, but the fact that they're slapping this coat of paint on and being like, oh yeah, Hunger Games fans love it, it's just insulting. I don't know, it's like if you wanted to play off the Hunger Games into a reality show, there's so much more you could do. You could do like a fashion-y makeover show, or like, to mimic like capital fashions and makeup. There's a lot more positive but not boring aspects you could draw upon. It's just kind of lazy that they decided to, do that here.
Especially like the CW is not known for their reality shows. And they're also a network that caters towards teen and young adult audiences. So it's like, as others have said, like it's so freaking obvious who they are trying to reel in with this concept. There's no like denying it.
Clearly, Savanna, they're trying to pick up all those people they lost when Felicity went off the air and to bring them right back.
That was the WB, not the CW. They're completely different.
But wasn't it the same channel, basically?
It was the same channel, but different people ran it.
Right.
It's
the Gilmore Girls crowd. That's who they're trying to win.
Hey, don't go maligning Gilmore Girls.